Nokia phone. You know, they took the phone. I believe it must be Ismaila. They took the phone. And then after I was released, I tried to dial the number. It was in service. I knew that it was not used during the time of the investigation. They stole it because, I mean, I informed Lang Tombo, the CDS then at the time. I said during the time of my arrests, my phone was stolen from my house and it's been used. And he said, well, hence I didn't know who actually took the phone. There's nothing he could do about it. I said, well, okay, then that's fine.
So you never got it back?
I never got it back.
Let's just go back to your arrest. Where were you taken to?
I was taken straight to the Mile 2 prison.
Were you arrested with someone else?
From my house, we went to Fajara Barracks, where we picked up Alpha Bar, and then drove straight to Mile 2.
Who was Alpha Bar? My apologies.
Alpha Bar was among those they claim tried to escape. And
what was his rank at the time?
He was a warrant officer.
And how was he arrested?
The normal arrest, because when we went to Fajara Barracks, he was sitting outside, you know, being guarded by some soldiers. And then when we arrived, they just handed him over.
And you were driven straight into Mile 2?
That's very correct.
You didn't pass by the police station?
Never.
By the courthouse?
Never.
And what happened when you got into Mile 2?
When we got into Mile 2, we were processed. I was having my wedding band. They said it's not allowed to enter with metallic objects into the yard, into the prison. So my wedding band was removed from me. They told me that I will get it back in the event that I'm released. But that didn't happen.
So not only has your mobile phone been taken, your wedding band as well was taken?
Exactly.
Was that, what kind of wedding band was it? Silver, gold?
It was gold.
Okay. What happened after you were processed?
After we were processed, we were shepherded into different cells, well, into our cell, because I met Musa Savage there. So after we were processed, we moved into the main yard at the security wing, and we were ushered into the different cells.
Which part of the security wing?
Security wing in the prison, the main yard in the security wing of the Mile 2 prison.
Do you remember what number?
Is your boy one pack, you get me? Send hol halatu bone nañ ko sànni fele simbalit gi nele xale ndaw yi toog di ko foye fele door leen di seetaan Gambia Talent Promotion, you get me? They promoted only Gambians and this is our own thing, Gambia, you get me? So my fans so leen ma bëggee gis boy fii rek la boy si hot platform bii la boy, yeah? You get me? This is how we do it. Leen bëggee gis lu xew si dëkk bi ak lu warut si dëkk bi TV bii la fii fans and am the jama yi ak haters. Welcome to Gambia Talent TV show, you get me? Seen xool xalaat yu bon nañ ko sànni fële si mbalit gi ne li xale ndaw yi toog di ko foyee fële cause Beppa TV bu nekk si tundi Gambie gi Gambia Talent TV mooy seeni baay man one pack maa ko wax ku ko dinaay nga def leneen comme gars yi ñu ñooy defee yaa ngi understand ñun ñoo fi ñëw xoolal di régler lu fi manqué. di mutal lu fi manqué di def lu fi kenn deful
Guess ñu ngi fi amee ay coffee mugs dañoo defar coffee mugs of all types so la amee seen business yi ngeen bëgg a defar coffee mugs mbete it ngeen bëgg a defar li nga xam ne nag mooy seen birthday presents yi ku seen love ones yi so la ñuy Gambian Talents promotion ñun ñu jox leen ko coffee mugs yu baax you know of all type bu nekkee wedding la bu nekkee da nga am sa love one bu nekkee da nga am sa fiancé bu nekkee da nga am ki nga xam ne nag mooy sa jëkkër mbete it sax sa yaay oo sa papa oo sa business boo xam ne yaa ngi ko bëgg a promote bëgg a faa def nag li nga xam ne mooy coffee mug soo la ñëwee fii rek am ko thank you Gambia salaamaaleykum yéen a ko gis de ay coffee mugs la de yéen ñi nga xam ne nag yéen a am seen wedding ba tey ngeen am seen birthdays ba tey ngeen am seen love ones yi nga xam ne dañ bëgg a kaas ba bëgg a dee maanaam dañ bëgg a si ñoo am seen li nga xam ne nag mooy breakfast bi seen tea bi su ko defee rek ñu am seen kaas bu baax gis seen boppa loolu nekk loo xam ne nag lu neex la gift dafa am solo si every relationship moo tax it Gambian Talents indil leen coffee mugs yoo xam ne nag soo leen ko bëggee rek ak foo leen ko bëggee rek ñun ñoo leen koy indil doo leen ko amee fenn gis ngeen ko yéen ñi nga xam ne nag yéen a am seen family members yoo xam ne maanaam dañ génn àddina métti it ngeen am li nga xam ne nag mooy ay parties fii la coffee mugs are here for you at Gambian Talents promotion. It's very cheap. If you want this kind of coffee mugs, just call in 7833-524. We are opposite the Nawak building at the Red Cross building. When you get to the Red Cross building, and when you ask for Gambian Talents promotion, they will show you. Get your coffee mugs right now and have a different vision of what coffee means.
A boy one pack, you get me? Seen xol xalaat yu bon nañ ko sànni fële si mbalit gi nele xale ndaw yi toog di ko foye fële door leen di seetaan Gambia Talent promotion, you get me? They promoted only Gambians and this is our own thing Gambia, you get me? Suma fancy soo leen ma bëggee gis boy fii rek la boy si hot platform bii la boy, yeah? You get me? This is how we do it. Soo leen bëggee gis lu xew si dëkk bi ak lu warut si dëkk bi TV bii la fii fancy and am the jama yi ak haters welcome to Gambia Talent TV show, you get me? Seen xol xalaat yu bon nañ ko sànni fële si mbalit gi neli xale ndaw yi toog di ko foye fële cause bépp TV bu nekk si tundi Gambie gi Gambia Talent TV mooy seeni baay man one pack maa ko wax ku ko dinaay nga def leneen comme gars yi ñu ñooy defee yaa ngi understand ñun ñoo fi ñëw xoolal di régler lu fi manqué di mutal lu fi manqué di def lu fi kenn deful
at the time?
I don't think at the time they were, the director was under arrest. Daba Marina was the director at the time, but because he was under arrest, so Modu Haidara stepped in.
And do you know why he was under arrest, Daba Marina?
Since we were all bundled as potential coup plotters, so I believe that it was because of the coup.
It was on the allegations of being part of the Trrc coup plot.
That's very correct.
And where was he detained?
At the security wing also.
With you and the others?
That's very correct. I forgot to mention his name.
Thank you very much. But tell us what happened during that panel.
During the panel, when I seated, Langtombo told me that, he said, "Sir, we know that you are not part of the coup. We know that you are not involved. But perhaps you are informed. So tell us if you happen to know about it, or if you are informed, just tell us." I told him that the only thing I know was when I went to Trrc's office, and he looked at this man's picture, or his portrait, and he said, "If I have the opportunity, I'm going to kick him."
And that is you mean
Yeah,
Jame by this man?
Exactly. I said, that's what I once heard from Trrc, that's all. And then, I don't know whether it was Musa Jame or Tumbultamba, interjected and said, "As a senior officer, you want to tell us that you don't know what this man meant by saying that if he had the opportunity, he was going to kick this guy?" I said, "Well, I'm not in his mind. I cannot think for him. I don't know what he meant." So they said, "Well, you'll have to tell us. You'll have to admit." And then Ismaila was having a rubber truncheon, and then he hit me on the head. It did not have serious impact, though, because it was rubber.
Is that Ismaila Jame?
Ismaila Jame, exactly.
Did Haidara say anything to you?
Later, Haidara said, "Mr. Sarr, if you are not going to talk, we will bring you at a time that will be very inconvenient for you."
What did you understand this to mean?
At the time, I thought that maybe they were going to deprive me of sleep, and that they will take me to the NIA, perhaps at the time that I needed sleep most. That's what I thought, because at the time we never knew that these people conduct torture. I think that was the first time that, for me, to be aware that you have special squad that are responsible for torturing people. So I was having two minds. Perhaps they are going to ratchet up the torture, the beating, or maybe they're going to deprive me of sleep. I said, well.
So what eventually happened?
I was taken back to Mile 2 prison, and then I think a few days later, they came for me at Mile 2, and on our way going to Mile 2, I was being sandwiched.
Who came for you?
The junglers.
Who in particular?
Definitely, I cannot recognize them.
It wasn't Ismaila Jame or Modu Jaju, or?
It wasn't, but later Faring told me who their identity was, because he was at the State House, he worked with them, and he knows them.
Excuse me, who told you?
Faring Sayang.
All right. And who were they?
Faring told me that he knows them because he worked with them at the State House. So they were the people who actually came for me and escorted me to the NIA. On our way going, one of them was having a stick, like a truncheon, and then he started hitting me on the bridge of my nose. because by then my hands were cuffed at the back. So they started hitting me and blood spewed out, and they were saying, oh, you are the people who wanted to overthrow this government. So we arrived at the NIA. I was ushered upstairs into a room where Musa Jame was sitting, and they asked me to read my statement, and he was recording the statement, and then later I appended my signature, and then I was taken back to Mile 2.
Did you appear before the panel on that day?
I did not.
And the first time you appeared before the panel, did they tell you the purpose of the investigation?
What they said was that there was this coup and that maybe I was informed.
Which coup were they referring to?
To the March 22nd, 2006 coup.
And that was the coup that was plotted by, or suspected to be plotted by Noor Cham, is that correct?
That's very correct.
And where was Noor Cham at this point?
Nobody knew his whereabouts at that time. But there was rumor in prison that maybe he escaped. So.
And you went back to Mile 2, and what subsequently happened?
I think after that second trip to the NIA, I didn't go back to the NIA until the day we were released, when we were taken back to the NIA. A whole bunch of us were released.
During your detention at Mile 2, or perhaps subsequent visits to the NIA, were you tortured apart from being beaten by a truncheon on your head by Ismaila Jammeh and beaten on the bridge of your nose until blood was spewing out by one of the other junglers?
No, I wasn't. Because I think what actually dampened that was perhaps the statement that Lang made that I wasn't part of it. Perhaps I knew about it. Maybe that's what saved me.
So those were the only physical assaults that happened on you?
That's correct.
So how were you eventually released?
After that second inning, I didn't go back to the NIA until one day, I don't know the particular day, some soldiers came with a list of names for people to be released. So they had a list and they were going from cell to cell announcing names, and the prison officers were there to help them locate where we were. They would call the name Mr. So-and-so, where is he? They say, oh, he's over there, and then they would go and release you, open, and they say, oh, you are released, pack your things. So,
and how long were you detained for?
about 11 days.
And did they tell you why they were releasing you?
When we went to the NIA, all of us were driven to the NIA, and then we went to an open space with chairs. And then the director then was Harry Sambu. So he told us that they had conducted their investigation and we were found not to be involved in the 22nd March 2006 coup, and that we have been released. Those who are in the military should report to their headquarters. And basically that's what actually happened.
So just like that, you just reported back to work as if nothing happened?
That's very correct.
And what position did you assume when you went back?
I went back as director of admin, and I stayed for about 2 weeks when I received a letter of retirement, compulsory retirement, and then the next day, another letter came nullifying that retirement to dismissal that, I've been dismissed with immediate effect. Just 2 sentences. So
you were dismissed from the Gambia National Army?
That's very correct.
And did you eventually engage in any other employment after that?
After my dismissal, fortunately, I was managing some foreign trawlers, 2 trawlers as an agent. So that's the kind of business I was involved in.
So you were involved in private work?
Private business, exactly.
Did the letters, by any chance, the dismissal letter as well as the compulsory retirement letter, any of the 2, did it disclose any reason why you were either being dismissed or made to retire on a compulsory basis?
The compulsory letter that came states that, I think they quoted a section on the terms and conditions of service for officers, that based on that, I've been dismissed. No, I've been retired.
And what was that? What was the particular section or provision?
I have it in my bag, if you don't mind. I can
Yes, please.
retrieve it.
Thank you.
The subject matter says compulsory retirement. In accordance with section 14.8 of the Terms and Conditions of Service for Officers 2005, it has been decided to retire you compulsorily from the Gambia Armed Forces with immediate effect. This letter was written on the 19th of April 2006.
Do you know what that particular section says? Or perhaps what the grounds of compulsory retirement would be?
One pack, get me. Sen hol halatu bone nañ ko sani fele simbalit gi nele xale ndaw yi tok di ko foye fele door len di setan Gambia talent promotion, you get me, they promoted only Gambians and this is our own thing. Gambia.
Can I have a copy of that letter, please? Do you feel that this had any connection with your previous arrest and detention?
I should think so, especially the comment I made at the investigation at the NIA that Trrc once said that he was going to kick him. I think that's what must have prompted the authority to...
Even though you were released and exonerated, you still feel that they were after you?
That's very correct.
What did your dismissal letter say?
I have it here. It was dated on the 20th of April 2006. Subject matter, dismissal and restitution of national award. In accordance with the Gambia Armed Forces Act Cap 19, Section 12C, it has been decided to dismiss you from the Gambia Armed Forces with effect from 21st March 2006. In consequence thereof, the national order award conferred on you is hereby rescinded. This letter supersedes my first letter dated of 19 April 2006. by the Permanent Secretary Joseph P. Jassy.
Please hand over that letter to the usher. What was the implication of that particular dismissal letter?
Well, it just shows that due process is not being followed in the administration of the Gambia Armed Forces. It's like somebody can just get up on his own whims and just do whatever he feels like.
My question was more to the effect of a dismissal letter rather than a letter which was for you to retire on a compulsory basis. Would you, for example, get your benefits if you were dismissed?
Normally, when you are dismissed, you are not paid any benefit. It's like you go empty-handed.
And when you're retired, would you go at least with your benefits?
That's very correct.
So retirement was more honorable, especially within the service?
That's very correct.
And what award did they rescind? And when did you get this particular award and from whom?
This was in 2006. I was supposed to be conferred the national order by the president, but the event of 22nd March changed the whole.
Were you awarded or you were not awarded yet?
No, it was rescinded. I wasn't awarded at all.
The award had not yet been made?
It was never made.
But it was going to be made if this had not happened in between?
That's correct.
And what is the National Order Award? What does it mean?
Well, the National Award is for people who have displayed some exemplary character in their work, and particularly those of us in the military. You have shown higher level of professionalism, discipline.
And this is the kind of officer you were found to be before you were implicated in the 2006 coup d'etat?
That's very correct.
And how did you feel receiving this dismissal letter?
Well, I was happy in the sense that, you see, when you are in a military setting and your junior is promoted over you, you will never be comfortable. So when the letter came, I was happy. I said, thank God.
And this person, Joseph P. Jassy, was essentially your junior officer. He had actually worked under you at some point, and he was now writing a letter dismissing you from the Gambia National Army.
No, I wasn't referring to Joseph Jassy because when I was in Mile 2 prison during the investigation, Lang was already appointed as the CDS, and Peter, was my junior, was appointed deputy CDS. So,
which Peter are you referring to?
Peter Singate. So, for me, I don't think it was unethical actually in the military sense. Normally, when a junior is promoted over a senior, you move the senior somewhere else, but you don't allow the senior to work under a junior. It's not appropriate, it's not proper in a correct military setting. So I was happy.
Mr. Chairman, at this stage, I would like to tender the dismissal and rescission of National Award letter dated the 20th day of April, 2006, and signed by Joseph P. Jassy, Captain Retired, as Exhibit 128A, and the compulsory retirement letter dated the 19th day of April 2006, signed by the same person, as Exhibit 128B.
Both requests are granted.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Sarr, was that the end of your arrest and detention when you were dismissed?
No, negative. No. In 2010, sometime in March, I think on the 13th of March, 2 personnel from the NIA came to my house in Trrc, and they said that I had to go with them to the NIA. I had some clarification to make, you know.
As regards to what?
Well, they didn't tell me. They said, Mr. Sarr, please come with us. We've been asked to come and collect you, to go to our office so that you can, clarify certain gray areas that.
And you were out of the army now for 4 good years, engaged in your own private business. Did you suspect or have any inkling as to what this was about?
Never.
Did you eventually find out?
I was at the NIA for about 4 days. I think the 3rd day, they invited me to the board that they constituted. The head of the board at the time was Sukuta, late Sukuta. So,
please tell us his name again. Sukuta what?
Sukuta Jame.
And who was he?
I think he was the head of the investigation team.
From which security outfit?
NIA.
Okay, please go ahead. Who else formed part of that panel?
I couldn't recognize the rest of the personnel there.
And this was after you were detained for 3 days at the NIA?
That's very correct, because I was arrested on a Saturday. Okay. On a Tuesday, I was invited to the panel at the NIA. And then Sukuta, before he posed his question, he lifted a piece of paper, maybe trying to make sense of what was written in the paper, and then he sat down. He said, Mr. Sarr, we were told by, Trrc told us that during the planning stage of the coup, they had a specific charity that they were supposed to take out. And that charity was supposed to be dumped at sea. And he said that Trrc told me about that charity and that had obliged to take a patrol boat and take the charity to sea. And then I told the panel that in fact, 2006, he did a mention. I was not at the Navy at the time. I left the Navy in 2004. How was it going to be possible for me to leave my position as director admin, go to a service, a defense service, the Navy, where they have a head, a commander? I say, we don't work like that in the military. I was not in the Navy. I was at the defense headquarters, and it's not true. That's where the questioning stopped. And I said, okay, go and write your statement. And I wrote my statement, and I didn't sign it.
So this was in connection to the 2006 attempted coup d'etat by Trrc.
That's very correct.
And after you had been detained for 11 days at Mile 2, exonerated, dismissed from the army, after 4 years, they called you back to the NIA and were asking you about what had happened 4 years previously.
That's very correct. What happened was, there was a wave of arrests in February, March. People were being arrested, people like Lang, but no. I think 2000 Lang was arrested, Lang Tom was arrested, Obimbai, and some of these officers were arrested. And then when these people were arrested, I heard that, I got this information when I got into prison, some of the coup plotters who were already serving sentence at the Mile 2 prison, I heard were called by the NIA and been asked certain questions. Perhaps they wanted to get somebody whom they haven't got any evidence on. So they called them and said that during the time of the 2006 coup, maybe some people were involved, but because of their position at the time, you were scared to mention their names. Now, what we want you to do is, if you call their names, we will arrest them, and then we will set you free. It was during that process that M.A. Barr was released. I don't know what he said at the NIA. He was released from prison.
Who was M.A. Barr?
M.A. Barr was convicted for the 2006 coup. He was a
What
finance...
was his full name?
Momodu Ali Barr, I think.
And what was his position?
He was a finance officer
Where?
at the defense headquarters.
Okay.
So, M.A. Barr, I don't know what he told them, whatever, but I think he actually manufactured a very good story and he was released. So, Bunja and Yaya Dabo, he went to NIA and told them something that I didn't know what actually was said. But excuse me, after I was taken to the panel on Tuesday, on the Wednesday I was moved to Mile 2. On the Wednesday I was moved to Mile 2. And then Fufana was already there, he was already arrested. And
Which Fufana?
Sergio Fufana. He came into my cell and asked me, MB, what happened? I said, these people, they arrested us for 2006 coup. 2006 coup? I said, yes. I said, okay. Bunja also came to my cell, greeted me, and asked me, what happened? I said, well, I don't know.
So Bunja Dabo had been convicted or not of
yes,
the
he was serving sentence
coup?
for the 2006 attempted coup.
Who else was serving a sentence for the 2006?
Ali Job, Tamsir Jassi, Yaya Dabo, Pierre Mendy, Wasa Kamara, Faring Sayang, the Marabu man.
Who was the Marabu man?
I forgot his name. I think it's Fatih, I think. He was serving sentence.
And they had been tried by a court and sentenced.
And they were serving various prison terms. So
what did Bunja Dabo say to you?
He asked me what happened. I said, I don't know. And then after a month or two, Fufana was invited. Now, before I get to that point, after I was taken to Mile 2 on a Wednesday, the Saturday, they came for me at around 11 o'clock at night.
Who came for you?
Prison warders. They opened my cell and they said that I was wanted outside. I said, okay. But it's something that I had prepared for. Because during the 2006 investigation, the coup investigation, I saw how my colleagues were treated. So.
And how were they treated? You haven't told us anything about that.
Yeah, I saw how they were treated in the sense that when they were taken to the investigative panel and when they return, you'll actually see them that they've actually been dealt with, that they've been tortured. Bruises, swollen faces. Yes.
And can you just give us a few names of people that had been tortured at the NIA?
Wasa Kamara was seriously tortured. Alpha Ba, late Alpha Ba. Abdullah Kujabi, I forgot to mention his name. Abdullah Kujabi.
And apart from the fact that you knew they had been taken to the NIA, did they tell you personally that this is what happened to them there?
The second time I went to the NIA, after I have signed my statement, they brought me down, and I was waiting for a vehicle to take me back to Mile 2. And then some of the junglers said that they are waiting for Lai, because Abdullah Conte was coming. So the moment he arrived, they placed a plastic bag over his head. And then they led him towards the wall. He hit his head on the wall. Okay? And then they removed the plastic bag, and then he was taken upstairs. And I saw Fatajo. I forgot to mention his name. He was actually beaten. I think they were accusing him of in possession of a weapon, whether a hunting weapon or whatever. Yeah, you can actually see the injuries.
What were the extent of his injuries?
Swollen face, and you can see blood.
And you personally witnessed this?
I didn't witness this. I just saw him sitting down. And then somebody was asking him a question. He didn't answer, and he was given a serious slap. And blood oozed out from his mouth.
And did you see that?
I saw that myself.
And who did that? Who slapped him?
One of the junglers.
Can you identify which one?
No, okay. I cannot.
Kindly tell us what happened after you were called on that night to go outside and answer.
Yeah, exactly. So I doubled up because I knew what awaits me at the NIA.
And what was that?
That they're going to possibly torture me, met out torture to me. So.
And what do you mean by you doubled up?
Some of the clothes that I brought in from the NIA, because when I was detained at the NIA, I requested for my clothes. So some clothes were brought to me, and I wear as much clothes as I can. So I was cuffed in front, and then I was drove to the NIA, and then ushered into a dark room. So I entered. They asked me to sit on the floor by the wall, and then I leaned on the wall. They said, no, move away from the wall. I moved away from the wall. And then after some time, I got adjusted to the darkness, so I could recognize Burambo, Modu Jaju.
Was his face visible?
His face was invisible, but because of his posture, when he stands, I think he shifts his weight on one leg, something like that. Because I know him. He worked briefly at the Marine unit as a driver. So I believe his team came for us on that day.
So even though his face was covered, you could clearly recognize him because of his posture?
That's very correct.
Did you recognize anyone else?
I didn't recognize the others.
So what happened in the dark room?
So I leaned off the wall a little bit, and then they started flogging me at the back. The whip they were using had a sharp object at the end. They were whipping me, and I was shouting as if I was really receiving the impact.
Are you saying you were not receiving the impact because you were padded up?
Yes, I was receiving the impact, but not as if I was like wearing a single shirt. So I padded up, and then they flogged me. They were taking turns. They flogged me until I don't know whether by instinct they realized that maybe they were not working hard enough. So the one came and grabbed my bag, my back, and he realized that I had padded. So
how many of them were whipping you?
I think there were 3 of them. Modu Jaju didn't take part in the whipping. He was like coordinating them.
And were you the only person there being whipped?
Yes, but on that particular day, Fofana was also taken. I think after they finished with me, they took Fofana inside the room. So we were both taken to the chambers on that day.
The torture chamber. So tell us what happened after they realized that you had extra clothing underneath. What did they do?
They lifted my clothes and then started hitting me on my bare back. And as a result, I suffered some laceration.
What was on the end of the whip? What was causing the lacerations?
It was some sharp object. And the jacket that I put on, I even have it here. You can see how it actually ripped through it.
Can you please show us? If you can just hold it up so that the commissioners can see. So the whip basically penetrated through the thick jean material.
Exactly.
So after your clothes were removed, I assume that is what it did to your flesh.
No, this was before my clothes was removed.
Yes, I mean after your clothes were removed, then what happened?
Exactly.
Did it rip through your flesh?
That's very correct.
Thank you very much. Can we have the clothing so that we can tender it, if that's okay, or would you like to keep it for sentimental reasons?
After prison, I never put it on.
Mr. Usher, can we please have the piece of clothing? We would like to tender it as Exhibit 128C, please, Mr. Chairman. So tell us after your clothing was removed.
Request is granted.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, for continuing before you accepted the request. You've already said that your clothes were removed and your bare back was being flogged with this whip which had sharp objects at the end. And I've already asked whether or not it penetrated through your flesh like it did the jean jacket, and you said yes. Did anything else happen? What were the nature of your injuries after you were flogged?
After I was taken to Mile 2, yes, the injuries, was actually serious. And then the next day, the medic came and looked at us. But at the time, we were not allowed, to go to the hospital. Because normally after you are tortured, they don't want the public to know what actually happened. So we were left there until our wounds healed up.
And did you receive any kind of medical treatment? You've mentioned that you were seen by the medic.
The medic came and gave us some painkillers.
Did the lacerations need any stitches?
No.
And what happened to Fofana?
Fofana also received the same treatment.
And what was the nature of his injuries?
Same laceration.
Was that the only time you were tortured at the NIA?
That was the only time.
And what eventually happened?
Yeah, it's your boy One Pack, you get me? Gambia, it's your boy One Pack, you get me? Gambia, it's your boy One Pack, you get me? Gambia, it's your boy One Pack, you get me? Gambia, it's your boy One Pack, you get me? Gambia, it's your boy One Pack, you get me?
amee ay coffee mugs dañoo defar coffee mugs of all types so la amee seen business yi ngeen bëgg a defar coffee mugs mbete it ngeen bëgg a defar li nga xam ne nag mooy seen birthday presents yi ku seen love ones yi so la ñëwee Gambian Talents promotion ñun ñu jox leen ko coffee mugs yu baax you know of all type bu nekkee wedding la bu nekkee da nga am sa love one bu nekkee da nga am sa fiancé bu nekkee da nga am ki nga xam ne nag mooy sa jëkkër mbete it sax sa yaay oo sa papa oo sa business boo xam ne yaa ngi ko bëgg a promote bëgg a faa def nag li nga xam ne mooy coffee mug soo la ñëwee fii rek am ko thank you Gambia salaamaaleykum yéen a ko gis de ay coffee mugs la de yéen ñi nga xam ne nag yéen a am seen wedding ba tey it ngeen am seen birthdays ba tey it ngeen am seen love ones yi nga xam ne dañ bëgg a kaas ba bëgg a dee maanaam dañ bëgg a suñoo am seen li nga xam ne nag mooy breakfast bi seen tea bi su ko defee rek ñu am seen kaas bu baax gis seen boppa loolu nekk loo xam ne nag lu neex la gift dafa am solo si every relationship moo tax it Gambian Talents indil leen coffee mugs yoo xam ne nag soo leen ko bëggee rek ak foo leen ko bëggee rek ñun ñoo leen koy indil doo leen ko amee fenn gis ngeen ko yéen ñi nga xam ne nag yéen a am seen family members yoo xam ne maanaam dañ génn àddina mbete it ngeen am li nga xam ne nag mooy ay parties
and Yankuba Drame, they were not at the Maitu prison. So it was myself, Walinyang, and others who came after us, who were detained. And those people took the service of a lawyer and they went to court, you know, and then they filed for habeas corpus, and then they were released. So when I went to Liz told me that, why can't I, you know, use the same channel those people use? Then I told him that, you see, Liz, Walinyang once met Liz at the hospital, and Liz told him that, well, you people, we've finished with your investigation. Your release letter has gone, so I was waiting, you know. So that's what I told him. He said, what is happening? Why can't you go through the same process so that, you know, you can be released? Then I said, okay, I will explore that possibility.
Who was Walinyang?
Walinyang was a military officer, of the Gambia National Army. He was also arrested
Was it in connection to the 2006 school?
I should think so, yes. Connection with 2006 school.
Please go ahead.
So I went back to prison, and I said to myself, knowing the person I am, if I want to push this, who knows? Maybe I can come with a counter, measures, and maybe ask these people to file something against me, even though they didn't have anything against me, but it could happen.
So you decided just to let sleeping dogs lie?
That's very correct, because Yaya behaves as if he's perfect, like, he doesn't make mistake. So whoever is arrested on his order, that person is there until he is ready.
And did you wait until he was ready?
I waited until sometime in July, when he announced amnesty for people who were incarcerated, so I was part of that.
Was it amnesty or pardon?
It was pardon, the pardon people, and I was included in the pardon, and then...
Sorry, Mr. Sarr, even though there was nothing to pardon you about because you had not been tried and convicted. Is that correct?
That's very correct. In fact, that was the reason why the day I was released, GRTS was there at the prison ground. I called the attention of David, the director. I told him that, look, I wasn't convicted, I was detained. Do you want me to go on air and inform the public that I wasn't convicted, I was detained for 5 years? He said, yeah. So that's what exactly happened. On the day of our release, I was interviewed. I said, well, as far as I know, I did not commit any offense. I was in charge. I was left languishing at the Mile 2 prison. And as a detainee, all your rights are seized. You don't have visits. You are treated like somebody who's on quarantine.
So it was incommunicado detention?
Complete communicado.
For 5 good years?
5 years, 4 months, and 2.
You didn't see any member of your family?
Never.
Did you have access to a lawyer?
Like I told you, I didn't want to involve the service of a lawyer, of possible repercussion from Yaya.
And what were the conditions of detention like?
Well, you see, I was in prison on 2 occasions, and I already prepared myself that it's the same condition, that the condition hasn't changed. So
you were accustomed to prison life?
Well, you see, no human being will be accustomed to prison life, but at least since you were there before, at least you can manage. So I knew the condition, that it's going to be a small mattress on a raised platform, and then you'll be given a chamber pot where you will do your personal hygiene, and the food is terrible, always terrible.
So what eventually happened to you?
Well, after my release.
Yes.
After my release, I stayed in the country. Although people were telling me, oh, you have to leave, your colleagues are leaving, why can't you leave and go to the neighboring country? I said, well, I don't think I'm a threat to anybody. So for me to leave Gambia and go somewhere else, I don't think it's necessary. So I stayed until the change of government, and then announcement was made over the radio and TV that those who felt that they were unlawfully dismissed from the service should write, to the PMO. They have constituted a board that they will look into this illegal dismissal. I wrote to the board. The first letter I got wasn't pleasing at all. They told me that my detention was not as a result of my dismissal, was not an executive, was not from the executive, and that I have to channel my petition to the ombudsman. So I wrote to the ombudsman and then sat and wait for them to call me, but that didn't happen until a few months later. I got a call from the SIS, that they invited me for a meeting. I went to the SIS. They tried to
Mr. Usher, can you just kindly give him the note and then let him continue with his testimony? Thank you. Please proceed.
So the letter I got from the PMO wasn't pleasing at all, because it was like they were trying to justify Jammeh's action, to say that, oh, your dismissal was not as a result of an executive interference. So it was like I dismissed myself.
So this was the SIS, which had replaced the NIA, basically, the new improved NIA, known as the SIS now.
No, it was the first letter I received from PMO. And then, like I said, months later, the SIS called me, and I was interviewed about my arrest, release, and I think they wrote back to PMO to confirm that my dismissal was as a result of an executive decision.
Yes, my point was that they were reporting on the activities of the NIA, because, after the change of government, the NIA was replaced by the SIS. They changed their name, essentially.
That's very correct.
Okay, thank you. Please go ahead.
And then I think they sent their findings to PMO. In the interim, I was invited to Defense Headquarters, Joint Headquarters, and met with the Army Commander, Mama Cham. So he asked me about my situation. I told him what had happened. I've written to the PMO, and stuff. And then I told him that I don't think it will be possible for me to come back into the service, because most of the people that we train are now in charge. So I don't think it will be ethical for me to put on uniform again. And then he said, okay, then that's fine. I said, alternatively, they can retire me. I go with my benefit. And then he said, okay, he will talk to the CDS. He said he would also look at the possibility of, discussing with the CDS for a military attaché appointment, like what they did he mentioned Fofana and Hassan. I said, okay, then that's fine. Anytime I'm available.
What eventually happened?
Well, later the PMO wrote to me that they've decided to reinstate me from the day I was dismissed up to 17th of August 2017. Okay? But they will not pay me backlog of salary. They will only pay me my retirement and gratuity. They will pay my gratuity and retirement. Okay.
What do you mean they were going to reinstate you? Were you being offered another position or the same position that you had?
I was not. I think the reason for that letter was they said to make my gratuity a little bit fatter. Because if they had not done that, you will see that the gratuity I was going to have was going to be like a pittance. So they decided to link it, so that I can have that long period of work time.
So did you get the gratuity and the pension?
Eventually, I got it, and then sometime last year, I was watching the Trrc when one of the pardon soldier, I forgot his name. One of the commissioners asked him whether he received his back payment during the period he was incarcerated in prison. He said yes. And then I said, oh, but these people are not fair to me. If we were all accused for the same offense, even though I didn't spend that long in prison, okay, there was a break, 2006 up to 2010, but I was rearrested for the same offense. If they had to come out of prison and then being paid their salary for all that period, then why are they leaving me behind?
And what witness are you referring to? The testimony of which witness?
Ahmed Babu. No, not Ahmed Babu. Babu Jangha. Babu Jangha.
Please go ahead.
So I heard him saying that, oh, they had paid, they were paid all their backlog of salary. Then I said, then these people, they are not fair to me. At least they should have called me and asked me what actually transpired.
Gambia is your boy One Pack, you get me?